What's up, guys? Blade Master here. Welcome to yet another Age of Vikings massive battle. We're going to be taking a look at Wales. The Kingdom of Wales is going to be fighting up against Italy here in the Battle of Lincoln. The pesky Italians have come to take Welsh lands and take Welsh women as well with their sexy flirting skills. Uh, I'm playing against INDYPRIDE here. INDYPRIDE has taken Italy, and I am taking the Kingdom of Wales in this battle. This is most likely going to be maybe the second last or the last video that I'm going to be bringing to you guys for about a month. I'm going back to Oman to study for an exam, and I won't have access to my computer until then, so there won't be any Warhammer content when it releases, unfortunately. You can expect videos starting June 6th, 2016. Thankfully, 2016. But yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. And if my voice, I'm not sure if my voice sounds a bit weird here, a bit more echoey. I've moved houses as well. Lots of like mayhem going on in my life. I had to move houses because my lease was over at my previous house. The new house is much better. It's huge. It's like twice the size of my old house, and I'm paying less rent too. Thank God for recession. Recession does bring some unexpected perks. It's not really, well, actually, don't quote me on that. It's not officially a recession, but it's recession-like features going on here in the Middle East, as most of you probably know why. Anyways, back to Total War. Age of Vikings, which is, I think, my favorite mod in Age of Charlemagne, closely followed by Zebedee's Charlemagne expanded mod. It's just a fun game to play because it doesn't really try and do too much and change much of the mechanics of Charlemagne. Charlemagne is very well balanced, and this just adds new units and new factions. Although they should bring in a couple more units on either side. There are a lot of unique units already, which gives factions a good flavor. Just like these guys, the Welsh Longbows, whom I brought around 9 of. The Welsh roster is pretty limited besides them. These guys are the best, or basically you need to make sure that these guys pay for themselves if you want to win a fight with the Welsh faction. They're going to be fighting up against Italian crossbowmen, and Italian crossbowmen are they seem to be pretty well. Yeah, they're very heavily armored. 46 armor for a unit that's pretty cheap, if I recall correctly. Italian crossbows. So that's not going to be a great. I'm not. It's not a great use of my ammunition is what I want to say. The armored crossbowmen as well, great, decent block chance, but good armor as well. 46 armor, same as the Italian crossbowmen. So, not really making use of my armor, but of my ammo. But the Welsh longbowmen do have a lot of ammo. So around 15 to 16 volleys of ammunition at the start of the battle, which means that you do have the opportunity to like pepper your enemy with fire and try and induce them to come in, even though you won't be causing a lot of damage. And once they do, then you can like try and focus on juicier targets. So I brought a total of 9 Welsh longbowmen who have an insane range of 200. I've brought a lot of like cheap spears, levy spears here, who are going to be forming my front line, and some cheap swords as well. My main line is a bunch of armored swordsmen, heavy melee infantry who have decent stats, good melee defense, decent charge bonus, but besides that, not too much going for them. I think they beat the Gasindia foot swordsmen. Slightly lower armor, but besides that, they have higher attack stats. I do have an axeman unit, which is one of the cheap ones, and my cavalry is composed of royal horsemen and mainly royal horsemen. Very expensive units, don't have the greatest bonus for his cavalry, but they're an all-round like solid unit. Firing into the Gasindia Cavalleria and Gestalt cavalry of Italy, who are marching up the hill, and here the spearmen are trying to get at my Welsh longbowmen because they're being particularly pesky by firing into the expensive cavalry. So I'm going to give chase with my one of my axeman units here. My spearman is just about to get crushed by 3 swordsman units. A bit of overkill there. Swordsman here and 2 like armored swordsmen there, while fire arrows pepper the battlefield. The crossbowmen of Italy are firing in, which means that my levy spearmen are doing their job here. An armored spearman is making sure that those Cindia Cavalleria and Gestalt cavalry don't get too close, while my royal horseman here charges into an axeman and does decently enough, even though they didn't get a good charge in. In the center, my cavalry just knocked down my levy spearmen and then managed to get a pretty shitty charge into this India foot swordsman, so they're not going to be very useful there. But here, my Royal Horseman killed off that Axeman, just got charged at by Gestalt Cavalry. But the Gestalt Cavalry don't have any bonus versus cavalry. So if I can bring some spearmen, as you can see here, I would be pretty decent in that battle. But he's also bringing some armored swordsmen who are very heavily upgraded, who are going to be able to intercept my spearmen there. On the far side, or sorry, in the center of the battlefield, the more and more swordsmen just piling in, but I managed to get a very crucial rear charge with one of my Royal Horsemen, which means two of his Gassindia foot swordsmen are basically flattened. I'm going to leave them there because it's going to be hard for me to pull away without taking too many casualties, which means that these Royal Horsemen are just going to have to get destroyed by armored spearmen and swordsmen who are all rushing into a massive brawl in this like wooded patch of hills. Here, my Welsh longbowmen continuing to fire in the meanwhile. One of them has gotten caught by a stray Gestalt cavalry, but I'm going to be able to bring my Royal Horsemen here and just charge into them. And the Welsh longbowmen, while they are very, very annoying, they do cost very little money, which means that they're actually, it's not the worst thing in the world if I lose one of them there to that cavalry unit, because now I can bring my Royal Horsemen and they're going to make short work of the Gestalt cavalry. The other Gestalt cavalry also coming into the fray, which might tip the odds in INDYPRIDE's favor, but my Royal Horsemen should be able to do decently. I've got some Warhounds or Gaze Hounds or Graze Hounds is what they're called, who killed off a lot of the cavalry unit there, and now they're going to intercept this armored spearman here. But all in all, now my Royal Horseman is facing increasingly shitty odds, which means that they're basically dead, but they're going to do a crucial role here in just clutching out some more extra time while my Welsh longbowmen move behind and then fire in from a safe distance. And look at the number of arrows just pouring in onto all three of those cavalry units. The Welsh longbowmen don't have precision shot, but if you bring 8 or 9 of them, they're going to do good jobs, you know, when it comes to killing off anything. The Gestalt cavalry now charging into more of them, which is even worse for me. Meanwhile, I've moved some of my army on this side because INDYPRIDE was doing a very a phased attack, basically moving away his right flank and then trying to charge in with his left flank, making use of the terrain and the hill bonus in his favor. Now moving in with an armored swordsman in shield wall against unshield walled Gassindia foot swordsman. Meanwhile, Welsh longbowmen pouring in the fire from behind, bringing in another armored swordsman and my general, my Theolu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, general, who's not the greatest general unit and pretty expensive, but he'll do a good job against enemy cavalry with his 20 bonus, and armored swordsman coming in here. The Gestalt cavalry, I believe over there, is causing more and more mayhem, but Royal Horsemen should be able to destroy them along with with a crappier horseman coming in to help support. Royal Horsemen here destroyed the Italian crossbowmen, doing so much work there from atop the hill. 24 kills, 30 kills, a lot of them racking up their experience upgrades because they're getting kills only on cavalry. Meanwhile here, armored swordsmen fighting up against just 3 or 4 contingents of swordsmen all racked up together, and while a Gassindia Cavalleria just looks from atop the hill as to what the hell is going on there. Look at the number of Italians just piled up there. Downhill charge into Royal Cavalry means my Royal Cavalry is basically destroyed. But again, moving behind my Welsh longbowmen, making sure they have plenty of range between them and the remaining cavalry, while they pour in flaming shot, and that should do a lot of damage in an extended period. But it's going to take a while before the archers actually make their mark here. You can see 3 kills already on expensive cavalry, means that's a good job from the Welsh longbowmen here. Levy spearmen going to charge into armored spearmen, while a Royal Horseman is moving around trying to catch the Paladin Guardsmen unawares with a Gaze Hounds unit. The dogs are basically dead, but there are 30 dog masters who are going to help support this battle when this eventually occurs between the Paladin Guardsmen and the Royal Horsemen. So you can see these guys are trying to intercept the general of INDYPRIDE here, while my full strength Royal Horseman makes its way into what is going to be a crucial engagement that decides this battle. And he needs to bring in support for his general very, very soon. Right now, he's concerned about protecting his armored crossbowmen, which is a good idea because they still have a shit ton of ammo left, and they are making short work of anything that they put their crossbows into. The Gestalt cavalry here pulling away, but they've been taking a lot of damage from my archers. The armored swordsmen have clutched a victory over the armored swordsmen of the Italians here. They seem to be they're basically the same units. So since my guys have shield wall on and they get that very clutch 10 bonus versus infantry, they're going to be able to win that battle. The Gestalt cavalry here has done a lot of damage, but it's not good enough to help pay for it. And meanwhile, it's this one Royal Horseman hasn't done too much, but it has allowed my archers to just pour in the fire onto this massive blob here, which is killing off everything. Now, this axeman has gotten a clean charge on the enemy axeman there, while the paladin guardsmen with their 30 bonus versus cavalry has killed off both my royal horsemen and my graze hounds. I'm sure they were helped somewhat by the armored crossbowmen, although that's probably going to do a lot of friendly fire as well. Over here, the armored spearman is going to... That has to... Yeah, the armored spearman is going to win out against the Italian armored spearman because it's like 2 against 1 there. My Teolu is winning out against a very depleted Gestalt cavalry. Gestalt cavalry have been very, very fearsome here. Even though they don't have a bonus versus cavalry, their heavily armor-piercing long swords have just destroyed any Royal Horsemen that the Welsh army was capable of bringing. But the Welsh longbowmen just making such short work of the Gestalt cavalry, slaughtering them with heavy shot. Because the Gestalt cavalry have pretty decent armor, so I thought it would be a good idea to just kill them off that way. Lower arcs for heavy shot as well, which I think might just help getting headshots on the riders. Here, more shots onto the paladin guardsmen, now just sticking with heavy shot, and arrows just filling the sky. And the paladin guardsmen, the bodyguards, are just not going to be able to survive that onslaught. The enemy general is dead, although my Teolu is not doing very well either. And I'm basically going to... I didn't really care about my general because in the race of general killing, the Welsh faction triumphed, while the Italians sadly died. The general of Italy is dead, which means a lot of the crossbows are going to start wavering. Even though they have a lot of ammo left, it's not going to mean much if they start routing. The Gestalt cavalry, or Gessindia Cavalleria, just charged into one Welsh longbowman before getting completely hammered. There is 1 unit left, or 2 units left, both of whom dead. And now the things have changed. It wasn't looking too good for me earlier, but because of my Welsh longbowmen and their insane reload rate, from as how it looks, they managed to turn things around. I kept managing to pull them back and just sacrificed my cavalry to create like little pockets that my Welsh longbowmen could just fire into from afar, and that ensured that the Welsh longbowmen would pay off. As you can see here, a double XP chevron on 2 units, which cost only 200, means that they did really well, and they definitely killed a lot of high value targets. And you can see here just insane range. They're firing in from halfway across the battlefield, almost like artillery-esque range. They're just pouring in the fire. There's no chance in hell that these armored spearmen will ever be able to catch them. And the armored crossbowmen as well are going to be a pain in the ass, even considering I don't have any cavalry left. But as long as I utilize my ammunition well, I should be able to get a few clutch kills on them. And once one starts to rout, or I manage to corner one and just catch them and kill them off, is basically it. But yeah, army losses for INDYPRIDE, and he loses what was a very close battle and a very entertaining battle. Pyrrhic victory for the Kingdom of Wales, but they reign supreme. They managed to hold down their home turf somehow against the fearsome Italians and their extra fearsome crossbows. The crossbows did really well for INDYPRIDE. I mean, they don't cost too much, and they're cavalry killers, they're infantry killers, they're whatever you want to kill killers. The Gestalt cavalry were surprisingly effective against my cavalry, but I think that's also down to the Royal Horsemen not being great units. They cost a lot, and it's always a good idea to bring them because cavalry still reigns supreme in Total War Attila. Even though it's Age of Charlemagne, it's always good to bring strong, heavy cavalry, especially considering that the next best option for the Kingdom of Wales is the really shitty regular horsemen. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. So here, okay, Age of Charlemagne is what I want. Boom. And if we go to Kingdom of Wales, right here you can see you have an option in the Horsemen, which is a unit that will just get slaughtered immediately, or in the Royal Horsemen, who have plenty more armor, much better melee defense, which both of these directly mean that they have better staying power. And they aren't the best units. Their melee attack at 40 isn't the greatest. If you compare them to something like the Byzantines with their Tagmata cavalry, 30 attack against cavalry for these guys. So they're very, very good. They cost less than the Royal Horsemen. Comparing them to Italy's Gassindiae Cavalariae, Italian armored Cavalariae. Where is the Gassindiae Cavalariae? I thought I saw some of those guys. There we go, 1100. Just insane. These guys just, I mean, they don't have any attack against cavalry, but their insane melee attack and melee damage just make up for it, because it's not very heavily armor piercing, but it's just high base damage and great charge bonus too, which means that they will just outshine the Welsh Royal Horsemen. The Gaze Hounds seem to be incredibly overpriced for what they bring to the table, but the Welsh Longbowmen, they cost 250, but they are just brilliant, and they're exactly the type of unit that would win me a battle against a faction that favors a lot of cavalry in the Italians. So really fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle, and stay tuned for more, which will take a long time. So new videos next month most likely. Yeah, peace.